What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm filming another budget video. I think I skipped last month, so I am actually really sorry about that, but I did budget last month. So I'll give you kind of like a recap. I just don't think I ever filmed it. So let the ball slip on that one, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys can forgive me. If you guys are new here, I'm Natalie. I like doing these videos every month, or at least I try to do these every month, where I go through my budget and I sit down and I don't have I guess budgeting can be sometimes confusing because sometimes a budget is like strict guidelines before your paycheck hits. You're like, this much is going towards rent, this much is going towards food, this much is going towards coffee. I guess this is kind of a loose budget slash what I spend in a month because I don't have strict guidelines, but I am a conscious spender, I guess. So every month at the end of the month, I go through every single transaction from both my credit cards and my bank account, and I add everything up and I categorize it so I know where I'm spending the most money, what I'm spending money on, what subscriptions I should cancel. If I'm, if I'm spending way too much money on coffee, or I'm purchasing things that are way too expensive, or sometimes I've even caught things where I'm like, wait, I didn't purchase that. What is that? And I get it disputed with my bank account. So it's really good to do. It's a really, really good practice that I recommend. So I'm going to go through and kind of talk to you guys about some big items that I spent, where I improved, where I didn't improve, what I'm trying to do for the following months. That's why I like to call it conscious budgeting, because it just makes me go into the following month with this like mental note to cut back on certain expenses, and it's actually helped a lot because there are some like big items that I didn't want to spend my money on because I was like, I know I'm spending too much money, so I'm gonna wait to spend this money in the next month. And I know some of you are like, if you're gonna spend it, why do you care? But that way I'm being less impulsive, because I think being an impulsive shopper or spender can lead to a lot of bad decisions. And also it's kind of like, if I still want it after a month, then I'll get it. But if I don't, then I won't. And I've been actually a lot better at that. I did that with my ring. I have an Aura ring. I do like it. I think it's overpriced. I will say that. I don't think it's worth the money. If any of you are looking to buy it, if you want me to do like a whole in-depth thing on it, I'll probably post that on TikTok, so let me know. But I personally like it. I'm not gonna return it, but I think it's overpriced, and I don't know if I would recommend it to everyone. I think it depends on how much like discretionary income you have, and like if you can spend the money, and then fine. But like if it's something that you are like really budgeting to get, I don't think it's worth it, if that makes sense. For example, so I spent like months before I decided to get this. I even bought it and returned it once because I was like, no, I don't want to spend that money. And then after a few months, I really wanted it, so I did purchase it. Or my AirPod Maxes. I purchased those this month and I've been wanting those for months, but I wouldn't let myself get them because I was like, they're just so expensive. So I purchased them this month, and I just felt a lot better about not doing it previously and not being as impulsive. And I'm sure that there are some things this month that I'm gonna wanna buy that I'm just not going to because I already made some big purchases. Like for example, this month I'll probably buy the new iPhone, but that's the reason why I won't buy anything else, assuming that it comes out this month. So that's like a little background of how I spend and how I think and what this video is for. It's kind of just going through my transactions and letting you guys know, and it holds me accountable to budget. So that's what that is. I think this month I did a lot better than last month. I will say I cheated because I did already budget, so I know I did better than last month, but I know that I spent a lot of money on big things, but I feel like I was home a lot and I was with like doing things that I didn't spend money. Like I went to Wilmington and I like barely spent money there because we were like cooking and eating in, or I was home at my house and like my mom was cooking or we were cooking and like we weren't spending money. So I feel like I with restaurants, I actually don't think I went out that much this month. I can't even remember like great restaurants I went to this month. Where I spent the most money is on things like my hair, my AirPods. I probably spent, more money on other like bigger things. I think that's where I spent the most money on. So we're gonna look at my expenses and we're gonna see, but I can tell you right now that I spent less than last month. And that month before, I spent less than the previous month. So I've actually been on a downward track, and I'm trying to spend even less this month. So I'm really excited that I'm spending less because truthfully, brand deals have dried up slightly. So I definitely in the next like 2 to 3 months will not be making as much money as I did this summer. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm budgeting accordingly, because since I work for myself, it's not as predictable. I will start paying myself from Rella soon, which is the company that I am the founder of. So I'm gonna start paying myself soon on that, so I'll have extra income there. But yeah, I mean, that's the life of working for yourself. Like this next few months when I'm supposed to be getting paid for all of these like previous month brand deals, I'm like, yikes, I didn't do that many. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, I just need a matcha break. Oh, this Starbucks matcha is so good. It's the best. Anyways, let's go through everything. So first, I will talk about my income. I think we do things a little backwards in the previous videos, but that's okay. Right now, I made less money than last month, almost half. I made almost 50% less than the previous month. I made 45% less than the previous month, but my previous month was my highest paid month this year. So I knew that I was not going to be making more than that. So I'm comfortable with half. And again, like I said, I made a lot of money this summer, but in the next 2 to 3 months when like I'm getting paid for the things I'm doing right now, I know it's going to be a little slower. So that's why I am preparing for that, because that one big tip I have is like, do not spend all of your income. I know some people need to, but if you can, try not to spend all of your income. Try to have at least put aside something for savings every single month. But especially if you're like a freelancer or working for yourself, don't let that lifestyle creep in too much. I was talking to my friend about that, and we were both saying like, dang, it's so hard to not let lifestyle creep in. Like you think like when you're, you know, not making as much money, you think like I would never spend on those things, or I'm not gonna let that, you know, I would never spend on that. And then once you start making a bit more money, you start spending a bit more, and you never thought that you would. And then you realize, oh my God, I'm spending so much money and I need to cut back. So if you are someone that is prone to that, then definitely use my budget and track every single expense, even if it's annoying. So as for my income, I made 45% less. So, but it's still okay because I budget for that. I don't ever think that I'm going to, you know, I never budget for the previous month. And before we get into the transactions, I did want to thank today's sponsor, which is Squarespace. Speaking of sponsors, speaking of income, it's very appropriate. Love Squarespace. So if you don't know what Squarespace is, they are the easiest way to build a website. I have a website for Rella. I've made multiple websites for my personal brand before, for clients. Like I am someone who has used all the website makers, and Squarespace is the one not only that I recommend to everyone, but it is my absolute favorite, and I would never, ever, ever use another website builder again. Squarespace is so easy. It's so customizable. The templates are what get me personally. I'm very much an aesthetic person, and I think you kind of have to be with the website because it is your online presence. So think of it as like a business card online for whatever it is you're making. Whether it is an online store, whether you have a restaurant, a coffee shop, a portfolio that you're advertising, just your personal website to contact you, whatever it is, you want to make sure that it looks nice. You want to make sure it represents you, and you want to be able to customize it and make it your own without needing to know how to code or hiring a developer, because no one has the time or money for that. So if you guys want to use Squarespace, you can use my coupon code Natalie Barbu, and you can also get 10% off your first order by going to squarespace.com/Natalie Barbu. But do yourself a favor, use it, and also thank you Squarespace for being my very favorite sponsor. Love you. Now let's get back to the transactions. Okay, so my housing transactions never change. Like they're always the same, besides my electricity bill, which is really high. So my power bill is usually it's around like $170 every month. Let me know if that's really high for you. I do keep it pretty cold in here, especially, I mean, Florida in the summer, like you're gonna keep it a little cooler, but I thought that that was really high for an electricity bill. So yeah, I'm paying around like a $170 every month for that. And then my Wi-Fi is $60, and then everything else pretty much stays the same. So the only thing that fluctuates is my power bill. Okay, so food. My goal, you guys know, is to decrease my restaurant budget. Like I just don't want to spend that much money on restaurants. I spend so much money on restaurants. This month, I actually spent 2% more than the previous month. So it was around the same. I spent $550 this month on restaurants, which honestly sounds high because I want to get it below 500 because my biggest weakness is food. I will go to a restaurant and I will spend money, and I will just be like, I really want to try it, so I'm going to order it. I'm the person that orders the appetizers, the small plates. I get a drink if sometimes, you know, I'm not a big dessert person, but I definitely order like multiple things on a menu. I never just order like one thing. So my food bill is always super high. So I did spend $550 this month, but I didn't spend a single dollar on groceries this month. I didn't go grocery shopping at all because I've been in and out of town. So I think that because of that, it's fine, because last month I spent $540 on food and $217 on groceries. So my food bill overall was much higher last month. And this month I didn't spend any money on groceries. So having $550 be my entire like food, restaurant, and grocery bill, I think is like pretty good. In terms of coffee, I spent $90 this month, which I definitely want to bring that down, but it makes sense because I was, I guess, like out of town a little bit. And then for alcohol, I spent $183 this month. In Wilmington, that was pretty much all I spent money on was alcohol. And then I did go out when I was at home a little bit. And I would like to lower that. I never want that to be over $100. I already broke that this month because I spent $150 at Kiki last weekend because I bought all of my friends' drinks. So yeah. But yeah, my overall food bill with groceries, restaurants, coffee, and alcohol this month was $856, which I am honestly okay with. I would like to get those numbers a little lower, but I think it's going to be really hard for me if I'm being honest. But overall food bill that much. Ideally, I would like to get coffee and alcohol and restaurants lower and groceries more so that I can actually like cook and, you know, eat in more. So that's kind of going to be my goal for the next few months. I am headed to New York City, so we'll see. But if you guys want me to do like a what I spend my week in New York City, let me know because I actually think that would be interesting and I think I'm gonna film it. Thanks for the idea, guys. Personal care, I did spend 30% more than the previous month, and the reason for that is my health and wellness went up by a lot because I had a few more doctor's appointments that I had to pay for, but I should be getting reimbursed for some of those. So that is the reason why, and I spent more money on like supplements and all of that stuff this month. So my health and wellness went up, but everything else pretty much stayed the exact same. I spend like $300 a month on my workouts, like my Peloton membership, my gym membership, my Melissa Wood Health membership. All of those like combined cost like 300-ish. I think I have like a few more things that I spend money on in terms of workout, which is a lot, but it's the same every single month. And then really what fluctuates is my doctor's appointments and visits and labs and all of that, because I did have to spend money on some lab work this month. So that's why it was a little bit more expensive, but spending money on my health and my wellness is something that I will not be sorry for. So I'm okay with that. As for transportation, you guys know I've been trying to lower my travel budget. I did spend a lot less this month on transportation, which is great because I was out of town, so I wasn't like charging as much. So this month I spent $87 on charging, which is great. So I'd love to know what you guys spend on gas to see like what it compares to, but I think $87 is really good. In terms of parking, I only spent $26 on parking this month. That's literally unheard of. That means I didn't go anywhere this month. I usually spend so much more money than that. So that's amazing. In terms of my car insurance, I need to lower my car insurance because I'm spending like $395 a month on car insurance, which sounds ridiculous because it is. So if anyone knows how to get like cheaper car insurance, I use Geico. It's medium coverage. It's not even the highest coverage. I have a Tesla. I like don't know why it's so expensive, but I would ideally like to get that cut in half. Like in North Carolina, I was paying $100 a month for my same exact coverage, and in Miami I'm paying $395 a month. So let me know how I can get that down. And with Ubers and Lyfts, I spent a lot less money this month. So I only spent $35, and that was to one trip to the airport that I took. So I spent a lot less money on Ubers and Lyfts. So overall, I think because I was home in North Carolina for a lot of this, all of those prices are a lot lower than usual. And miscellaneous stuff, I did a lot. I did like Amazon shopping. There was a lot of like my hair I got done, which cost $400 for keratin, and you know that was like definitely something that was expensive. So I think all of that, I spent less than last month, but I still spent a little bit more than I wanted to. And in terms of clothing, I didn't buy any clothes this month. I'm really happy about that. I literally bought nothing this month in terms of clothes. So my budget for that was $0, which was great. And now let's look through some like big transactions and like big ticket items, which you guys know I like to call them that. Okay, so I actually spent a lot of money this month on some big ticket items, and I want to talk to you about them. So first one was Best Buy. I did buy my AirPod Pros. I like them a lot. They are heavy and they're not as tight as I would want. I don't think I have a small head, but they still don't like feel that tight. Like when I'm working out, I have to adjust them a lot. Like if I'm laying on a bench, like they like tend to fall back. So I have to like kind of put them a little higher to adjust them. So that's what I don't like about them, but they are incredibly comfortable. I don't find them heavy in the sense of like, oh my God, they're uncomfortable after a while. They are heavy in the sense when you're laying back, they kind of like gravity pulls them backwards. But I also think it's because they don't sit as tightly on my head. But pro tip for if you do want to buy any electronics that are really expensive, like the AirPods, I went to Best Buy and I got them for $450 instead of $550 because of their open box policy. So I technically got one that someone had returned, but it was pretty much good as new. Like they literally probably were worn once and they were brand spanking new. They work just as well as I think if I would have gotten them brand new. So I saved $100 for just getting an open box one from Best Buy. And I think that's a much better way to go. So if you guys are looking for electronics, I definitely would recommend that. My accountant cost me $450 every month, which is really, really expensive, but it's obviously an expense that I am willing to pay for because I don't have to worry about any accounting issues or taxes or anything like that. My car insurance is $395, which is just way too expensive, so I'm looking to bring that down. I spent $389 to get a Brazilian blowout on my hair, so that was really expensive, but that should last me like 6 months. And I also spent $300 on The Information, which is a newsletter where I get a lot of creator economy news. I was debating if I wanted to spend this money or not, but the articles on there are really great. I get to make a lot of TikToks out of the articles I read. I get like an in the know, like inside scoop of the creator economy, which is what Rella is in. And I just felt like it was something that I'm going to test out for a year and see if it's worth it. But personally, like I love getting that newsletter and I read those articles, and I thought that it would help me grow in my career and help grow Rella as well. So that's why I purchased it. But dang, that's so expensive. Like newsletters and all of these news sites that you have to pay for, they're getting very, very expensive. I spent $270 on a plane ticket to go home. I did buy a pretty last minute plane ticket, so I did have to spend that money on there. I spent $192 on a bunch of skincare that I'm now obsessed with, but I did spend a lot of money on that. Those were kind of like my big expenses, and I would love to know what you guys think about like your budget. So that was it for this budget. I feel like I didn't have as much to talk about this time around because honestly, I didn't have anything that I was like disappointed in myself for. I'm actually like kind of proud of myself for spending less money and for, you know, spending, I don't know, like I feel like I spent less money across the board, and this is probably my lowest spending month this year, and I'm hoping to get it even lower in September, which we'll see because like I said, I spent $150 on drinks. I just got my hair done again and spent some money. I bought some plane tickets. So, you know, we'll see how September is, but I think that it'll be good. I think that'll be good. And I'm going to New York. My food budget is definitely not going to be good this month, but hopefully everything else is. And hopefully I spend less money and I can, you know, spend even less than the previous month. So I know that you guys love seeing these videos, so I love making them, but let me know if there's anything that I missed that you want me to touch on, or if you like how I keep these very casual and kind of just run through my budget with you. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in my next budget video, and hopefully I have like good things to say and I'm not hating myself, even though those I feel like are probably more entertaining. So yeah, thanks guys. Bye.